Bills on parade, baby. What is up, Buffalo fanatics? Oh, it's a state of pure bliss this Sunday afternoon. Me and Rico were talking earlier. We said we cannot let this day go by with hopping on here and just celebrating, my friends. Welcome in Sunday afternoon after the greatest NFL performance by an offense in the history of the league. How hyped up is everybody? Let us know in the comments. Rico, my brother, how are you feeling after this one?
We are feeling great. You couldn't have asked for a better performance from all three phases of the game. Special teams did their thing. Offense was on fire. Defense was absolutely lights out. I was watching from the comfort of my own home, and I was comfortable. You, on the other hand, were in the stadium. You were at the stadium. You were hanging out with 70,000+ people. First and foremost, were all the seats full and filled with people, or did you have some empty seats?
Every last one of them. I haven't seen that place like that. And I was a little bit concerned because the ticket prices for a playoff game were pretty low, and obviously it was 0 degrees. So there was part of me that was a little concerned that there might be some empty seats. But Rico, dude, that place was filled to the brim and not a soul left. I mean, that game was over at half. Nobody took off. Very, very little Patriots fans, too. And I was kind of shocked at that because it's not a far trip. It's a Saturday night, and the tickets were cheap. I mean, tickets at Gillette are not cheap. So that to me, I thought the Patriots fans were going to show out. Nobody there. And hey, God bless them. If I made that trip all the way there and back for that, I would have been upset to say the least. But that place was rocking, Rico. I can't remember a time I've ever seen it, that rowdy, and that place gets rowdy on the weekly. So
was it worth it? Because this was a playoff game at home. I mean, against the Patriots, you could have been at home in your warm pajamas with some hot cocoa, but you decided to go against that and go to Highmark. How was the atmosphere just in the stand? Not before you even go to the stands, tailgating. Was anybody tailgating? Was it too cold to tailgate, or did they give it?
Oh, nobody gave a damn. That place was absolutely as fired up as it's ever been. Of course we tailgated. Everybody was tailgating. Was it worth it? You're damn right, Rico. I wouldn't have traded that for anything in this world. It was like I told you right before we came on. If you allowed me to handcraft a game, like what's your dream scenario, map it out, Disney script it, that's what you're looking for. It wouldn't have come close to what actually happened last night. There's no possible way in your wildest dreams you could have drummed that up. That was the first home playoff game in front of fans since 96, Rico. I was born in 97. So for that to be what it was, and for me to be there for it, I mean, Rico, honest to God, it is a night I will never, ever forget.
See, and this is what this is all about. It's about experiences. People don't realize, like, it's not so, even if we got drummed out, we got beat down, you're amongst peers, you're amongst family, you're amongst friends, and you're enjoying it. And what was the cherry on top was just the shellacking that we gave these Patriots. Like, let me tell you something, play of the game. Let's just talk about it.
Good luck. Good luck.
I just did. Micah Hyde with that damn interception. What a swing that was, because you go up. I mean, these Patriots scored at 7-7. You got yourself a ball game. There's confidence on one end, there's confidence on the other. But that interception shut the damn door on any opportunity these guys had, and it was rolling from there. That's a 7-point swing right there. We won for 7-7 to 14-0.
Well, not to forget 2 plays prior to that, the drop ball, deep ball. If that gets caught, listen, the first drive there, Rico, Bills D did not look like they were ready. The Pats were getting down the field, and there were a few drops, and I was getting a little bit concerned. They also converted 2 very long third downs on that drive, a 3rd and 14 and a 3rd and 10, where somehow Mac Jones scrambled for it. I was in the opposite end zone for that Micah Hyde interception, and I was in the rock pile, so second level, you have a really good vantage point. I could not believe he picked that up. Rico, he never even looked at the ball. He never even turned around. He put his hands up, somehow caught it. It was one of the – Jordan Poyer said it himself. He said it was the greatest play he had ever seen in his life. And I think it's up there.
You have no idea. Like, see, from the TV standpoint, right? You are coming from from in the stands, way back at the rock pile. When
Yeah.
you're looking from TV, you're like, oh, Nelson Aguilar is gonna score a touchdown, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, he's gonna be too late, and this guy comes out of nowhere. It really felt out of nowhere. He came out of the screen,
He did.
and kicked that off. I was like, you've got to be
Because
kidding me.
you're right.
Micah
You're
Hyde,
right. That was going to be 6. He had the
it
jump.
was
Micah Hyde, I mean, not only was the interception like actually completing it insane, but the fact that he had the wherewithal to come from across the field and make that play,
wonderful.
like you said, literally out of nowhere. It was, oh my God. And then back to what you said again, it changed that was the game right there. Nothing was the same since.
But you made a point. You made another point because Brandon Bolden dropping that wide open pass.
Uh-huh.
Oh my! I was like, "Yo, who's there? What happened?" When he dropped that pass, I was like, "Okay, this might be going our way, man." Epinesa, when he let Mac Jones scramble for that 16-yarder, I was like sitting there, and it could have been easily avoided. Epinesa, keep him inside, inside, but you bit outside, you let him come in. It was bugging. But what a freaking game that was! I got a super chat coming in from Naheem. I think it's Naheem. Oh, Narhim. So, hey, did y'all notice the Pats didn't have any surf tablets anywhere near Belichick on that sideline? What a beatdown. Loving it. I mean, there was a moment that you probably wouldn't have seen it, but there was a moment where, and you probably saw a whole bunch of highlights, but there's one clip that was cut out. Mac Jones is sitting next to Josh McDaniels, and McDaniels is sitting on the tablet going, okay, here's what we got to do. And you got Mac Jones. Mac Jones is so interested in his the breath in the cold air. It was done. We psychologically we wanted that game. We wanted that game. We wanted it for the team. We wanted it for the city. We wanted it for the fans. It was one of those situations where you couldn't, nothing could go wrong. It didn't feel like anything could go wrong. Isaiah McKenzie. The only thing you could say that was a blemish were the PATs.
Yep, 100%.
PATs were like,
and the other thing that bothered me is that, and it's just like, like, imagine getting bothered by anything in that game. But the one thing that did get me a little bit was that both Pats touchdowns were on 4th down. That game could have been a shutout. You know what I mean? Like, they had him on the ropes both times. So that was kind of like, because like it was down to their last attempt and they got it on 4th down. But I mean, you want to talk about nitpicking eyelashes here. I mean, there's not a thing that happened in that game that you could possibly hang your head on. I mean, it was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Literally.
Now, are you familiar with and we're not going to jump all the way out there yet, but like, are you familiar with who we play if things play out with the Steelers? So how do you feel about that? So we have an opportunity. If Steelers pull the upset, I think Bengals are coming home to us. They got to play us over here. Now, if the Chiefs win, which they're supposed to win, we're going to Kansas City, Arrowhead Stadium. We've been there before. We were able to take them down. What a path to go to the Super Bowl. It's man, this is challenging shit, man. To be able to beat Kansas City twice. Listen, we had to beat New England twice. Now you got to go back and beat Kansas City twice. And then you got to go and play probably Tennessee. Man, this is craziness, man. We got to play all these guys again. It's good and bad because there's some familiarity, but at the same time, they got some familiarity with us too. So it is crazy. Now, I got to bring this up. I would have loved to bring the video, but I didn't have the video. But radio, there was a station, a TV station with not Ted Bruschi. There's another Ted Johnson. I think it was Ted Johnson, former linebacker Ted Johnson's on that show, and a few other people. And they were talking about the loss that New England just got from the Bills. And this one guy was like, well, who do they play? They're not even that good. And his call was like, what do you mean they're not even that good? He's like, they've only beaten 2 playoff teams. And one of them was the Chiefs, and the other one was us, New England. And the guy his colleague could
That's what a caller said, or that's what the linebacker guy said?
No, it was a freaking call, just an anchor. An anchor was just talking. And I'm beside myself. I was like, what's wrong with this guy? This guy clearly can't.
How is that what you could take away from that game? How is that what you could take away from that?
That's exactly what his buddy was saying. He's like, how could you say they're not good? He looks at him. He's like, how could you say they're not good? Because he's like, these are the facts. They lost to all these playoff teams, but the only teams they beat was us. And this guy was losing stuff. So I bring this up because there are some Patriots fans that are in denial.
Mm.
They cannot understand that the pendulum has swung, right? It's not on your side anymore. It's now gone swung all over to the Bill side. Are you confident that we can sustain this for as long as Tom Brady did with us for 20 plus years? Do you think these Bills can do that?
Well, listen, I don't know if that's ever going to happen again, but I'll tell you this right now. The gap between the Bills and everybody else in that division, I mean, it's not even close. And we saw it on full display last night. And we talked about this earlier in the week. We had said the AFC East championship means absolutely nothing if you wind up going out and losing to the team who owned you for 20 years in a position where it's win or go home and you're trying to finally solidify yourself at the top of the division. Not only did they do that, Rico, I mean, they pulled off quite literally the greatest offensive performance in the history of the game in a scenario where it was just absolutely remarkable. I mean, think about the scenario in which they pulled it off. It was against the number 2 defense, against the greatest coach of all time, against the team that ran them for 20 years. It was 0 degrees out, and it's the playoffs. And they delivered quite literally the greatest offensive performance of all time. So, how could you not be over the moon confident with this team going forward for that division? Now, to compare anything to what Brady and the Patriots of that era were able to pull off, I'll never, ever say that anything will come close to that until I see it. I just think that's one of the greatest sports accomplishments ever, and it's going to be almost impossible to ever touch again. But I'll tell you this, the division is going to need to do a hell of a lot of work if they're going to want to compete with the Bills over that period of time, as long as J.A. is in town, and I feel like he's going to be here for a significant amount of time.
You damn right he is. Now, Michael Lanzone comes in and says, Rico, you're talking about Michael Hawley. He's such a clown. He's a bozo. He's an absolute bozo. He could not listen. There's time to make excuses, you know what I'm saying? And then there's humility. Have some humility and say, man, my team, the team that I root for, or the team that I've had as a child, who knows? I don't know what this man's background is, but take your L. Take your L with some dignity. It just sounds better. It's just much better than a grown-ass man making excuses talking about this team is not very good when your team that you've been praising all year long, that you guys thought had the damn division, just got shellacked for the freaking second time. Y'all lost to the Dolphins twice. You guys lost 2 games straight, and then you commit like it was not good. It wasn't good. It wasn't a good performance. Just take your L and keep moving. I can't understand people that can't do that. By the way, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are up 13-0 on the Eagles. That might be a route right there. It's going to be interesting. Now, I got to say, man, when you were talking about the offense on how it was such a complete game, man, you are not lying. When Josh Allen had more touchdowns than he had incompletions.
Rico, I tweeted this out for anybody who wants to go look at it for themselves, but I'm going to read this off.
Yes.
I want everybody to understand what we witnessed last night and how absolutely miraculous it is. People need to realize what we witnessed last night is a once in a lifetime performance. I need that to really resonate with people. I know right now, if you're like me, you simply cannot fathom what you witnessed last night, but what you witnessed in a variety of different ways was one of the greatest performances ever. And I'm going to read off this thread. Yes. And I tweeted out. And if you want to go check it out, @ZachB22 on Twitter, because I've read it back to myself 1,000 times. I can't get enough of it. If I could liquidate this thread and bathe in it, I would. So right here, I tweeted out a thread of all of the insane stats that occurred last night. And it's a long list. So sit back and be prepared to listen to some absolute insanity that your Buffalo Bills pulled off last night. Okay. Allen had more touchdowns than incompletions. 1 in every 5 throws for Allen was a touchdown. Every single touchdown came on play action. That's the most touchdowns thrown in the game off play action ever. Josh Allen's quarterback rating of 98.5 is the greatest quarterback rating in the history of the statistic. He averaged nearly 15 yards a completion. He had an 84% completion percentage, which was his career high. 5 touchdowns thrown, a Bills franchise record in 0-degree weather. The throw to Knox on the first touchdown, he was in the pocket for 9 seconds. It's the longest time a quarterback has had to throw in over 3 seasons. It was also the worst playoff loss in Bill Belichick's career. Believe it or not, the Bills have given Belichick all 3 of his worst career losses. Last night was the second worst loss of his entire career. Belichick had never coached a game where he did not allow a punt. The Bills did it twice in one season, including last night. The Bills are the first team in NFL history to go a full game without punting, kicking a field goal, or turning the ball over. They're the first team in NFL history to score a TD on 7 straight drives. They averaged just under 9 yards a play. We're talking basically a first down every single time they snap the ball. Second most points scored in playoff franchise history. The Bills never even made it to a fourth down, not once. They didn't face a single fourth down once.
That's epic.
Insane. 30-point margin of victory, the second biggest win in playoff history for the Bills. Singletary had 2 touchdowns. That's the most by a running back in a playoff game in 20 years since Antoine Smith, Rico, who we had on the other night. That's the last time that was done. Josh Allen did not throw a single incompletion the entire second half and almost the majority of the entire second quarter. He had one of the most prolific and proficient games ever, and the guy didn't even make the Pro Bowl. Rico, that list right there, I mean, that just took me, 2-3 minutes to rattle off? I mean, you got to give me a break. What we witnessed last night, I will never forget it. I will never forget it. Unbelievable.
Zach, you rhymed off, like, there were things where you were saying, I was like, oh, shit. It wasn't because when you're in the moment as a fan, you don't get to enjoy what we just did because you're in the moment. Right? I'm watching. Listen, people are sauced up. They're drinking beer and they're just having a good time. But when you really sit down and you hear what you just said, we didn't even get the fourth down. Like, are you kidding me? This was a game that I will remember for a long time. This is a game that we're all going to remember for a long time. And it's not about just what we did. It was who we did it against. That's the big one for me. It's who we did it against because
at home in front of the crowd too. I mean, unbelievable. You're damn right, Rico. Right there.
It's who we did it against. It's where we did it. It's who's on the sideline. And the worst part for me is it's the insufferable Patriots fans that we get to just hear cry and whine. You should have saw Barstool Presidente. He was absolutely embarrassed. He didn't know what to say. He was shocked. He was calling his team out. Well, listen, that's what you get when you don't have a franchise quarterback anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, we spent 20 plus years looking for a damn replacement for Jim Kelly. And you think you guys are going to find one in one season in Mac Jones? Give me a break. Y'all got to give him a little more time than that. Now, Mac Jones had a really good year. You got to give it to him for a rookie. He did it exceptionally well. But he ain't no Tom Brady, and he's going to have to go through his sophomore season. You're saying when people have figured him out, and they pretty much did. Dolphins figured his ass out quick things, and they let him know, right? Last game, they just got to him. We just happened to have a team built for the playoffs. We saw what we did last year. We saw what we could do. We tweaked what we needed to do, and now we are seeing the dividends. Now, tell me this. How beautiful was it to see Devin Singletary run all over the field yesterday with such with such confidence?
Look, the last several weeks, and Ryan Bates, I don't know, was he handed down from God himself? Because the second that guy touched the line, this team, Josh Allen can pitch a tent in the backfield. The amount of time he's had to throw is absurd, and their run game has blasted off. Singletary, like you said, it's confidence. He's hitting the hole beautifully, and his movements lately, he's able to navigate like a veteran. It's incredible. The way he's been running is amazing. And on top of that, we were worried about Dable having faith in Isaiah McKenzie. The way they utilized him last night, terrific. And every time we see it, it works. And you wonder to yourself, why isn't this implemented every week? But to answer your question, we're going to watch Devin Singletary emerge into a guy that you can quite literally rely on now, which is a beautiful thing to see at this point of the year. I mean, everything's clicking at the right time, Rico, and you saw it on full display last night. The line's clicking on O, the run game's clicking. Allen is playing some of the best football we've ever seen. And then, of course, all of the offensive performance, it gets the limelight. What's lost is what this defense is doing on top of it. Domination last night, Rico.
Listen, Jerry Hughes. I mean, we all want to, poke fun at Jerry Hughes, but Jerry Hughes has been here the longest. He's been on the tenured Bill. He knows what we've gone through with this team. He knows what this team is capable of doing. He suffered through, you know what I'm saying, Rex Ryan's defense and all the freaking I don't know how the best way I can explain it, but just all the fluff that we had to go through to get to where we're at now. And he said, it's like, we took it personally. When they talk about our defense and they criticize us and they say that we haven't beaten anybody, we haven't done anything. Well, guess what? We're here and we're ready to play some goddamn defense. And that he did. What a heads up play by Jerry Hughes when Mac Jones tried to fake spike. And Jerry Hughes is like, nah, I'm not buying that. Let me get after that ass. I was over the moon when I saw that. Now I got to bring a statistic to you, which I'm so thrilled about. 21. I mean, we got to talk about him, right? And then I'm going to get into somebody else. Well, 21 for 25, 308 yards, 12 yards a throw. He was averaging 12.3 yards a throw, 5 touchdown passes with a QBR of 98.5 with a rating of 157. My goodness, how incredible was Josh Allen last night? Wow. The rumor has it, I mean, I think he said it. I can't say rumor has it. When he had those 9 seconds to, find a way. Apparently, he was throwing the football away.
He's confirmed it. He didn't know what happened on the play until 4 minutes later when they finally showed it on the Jumbotron. He had no idea what happened. He threw it away. He threw it away. He quite literally said he threw it away. And he did not know the only reason he knew it was a score is because the crowd was going nuts. And he literally did not know how the touchdown happened until it got shown on the replay board. Yes.
And I'll tell you, the wife was she actually filmed it on that touchdown. And I kept on saying, what beautiful touch. I was so baffled and confused. I was like, he doesn't do this type of stuff. What happened? Turns out he was trying to throw the damn football away. But that touch was beautiful enough for Dawson Knox to come in. Now, how interesting is this? We talked about it in the pregame show. We said, hey, who are the guys that are going to be the people that step up for you offensively? Mookie Hawkins jumped in and said, hey, give me Dawson Knox, man. I think he's going to break out. He's going to have a big game. And that he did. He led the team with 5 receptions, 89 yards, 17.8 yards of freaking catch. And listen, off of 5 targets. He got all 5 footballs that were thrown his way. That is the Dawson Knox that a lot of people saw potential in him. And a lot of people keep saying, where's the apology form for Dawson Knox? Listen, we've been apologizing for Dawson Knox. I mean, at least I can speak for that since freaking early in the season. After he went to tight end university, he's been a different tight end since and shown it. And it's so beautiful to see. But Josh freaking Allen, I don't want to hear anything about sub-zero temperatures. He can't play this, that, and the third. That is officially shut down, right? Nobody wants to come play Buffalo. Fine. But when you see this guy delivering the football, the way he was delivering the football, and with such confidence and swagger, oh my goodness. And the wife yesterday, she's like, he's a big guy. I was like, and you see him face. So is he a big boy like when you see him on the field?
Oh my God. Like when I met him in person, it's amazing because everything kind of combines into one when you see him. First of all, just knowing who he is, his personality, he's got this aura about him where you're almost looking at like, I don't know, it's like a deity almost. Like you when you're around him, it's like you get this palpable vibe. It's amazing to be near him. The dude is absolutely huge, no question about it. I mean, he's as big as you imagine. And then I sat low for the Falcons game the other day, and he was running towards the end zone. And you see him on the field, and he really like the best way you can tell when you look at the huddle, and he's standing next to Devin Singletary, who I've also interviewed in person, and he's about my height, but he looks like he's squished down because he's so stocky and built, and that's paid off too with the muscle he's put on.
Oh, hell yeah.
When you look at Allen compared to some of the other guys on the field, I mean, it is 1,000,000% noticeable how beastly he looks.
I remember going to I think it was I don't know if it was the Monday night game. Marshawn Lynch was still on the squad. And when I saw Marshawn Lynch, I was like, that is a big back. Holy jumping. So I can only imagine what a guy like Josh Allen looks like. And let me tell you something, man. Josh Allen, look at me, he threw for 300 yards, granted. But the dude is running the football. 6 carries for 66 yards. There was a play, and I still can't get over it. 2 plays. I could rip off all 6 of his runs, but there were 2 plays that stood out to me. He had one guy break his ankle so bad where he went inside, outside, back. a thing of beauty and a thing of art.
Dude.
At 5', 240 pounds doing that.
I was going to say, yeah, bring it back to the size. That size is doing that. I mean, you see Steph Curry do that. You don't see guys like Josh Allen doing that.
Unbelievable, unbelievable. And the next one where he took it inside. He didn't like what he saw. Got outside. Christian Barmore was right on him, draped over him, and Christian Barmore, a big boy, over 300 pounds, could not bring Josh Allen down. That boy is a strong dude, man. Golly. And in that show I was telling you about, but Buddy was just making all these excuses. Even the other guy was like, "You're not going to see a quarterback like this in a long time. He's as athletic. I mean, not as, but he can do the very same things that Lamar Jackson can do, but he can throw the football. Now, no one's as athletic as Lamar Jackson, and everyone should know that. But he is doing what Lamar Jackson can do, the Kyler Murrays. If you can run for 60 yards, guess what? I can do it, but I do it my own way. My goodness, what a gem that we have in Josh Allen, and he's only going to freaking get better. He's only going to get better.
We're 4 years in, and last night was the greatest game he's ever played, and we've seen plenty of great games. So you're right. Yeah. Where's the sky? Because I don't think he's even touched it yet. Because we're talking 4 years in the biggest game of the season, and then he decides to go ahead and probably have the greatest game of his career, one of the greatest games we've ever seen a quarterback play in the playoffs. So you're damn right. Who the hell knows where it goes? But it only goes higher. That's for sure.
It only goes high. That's the only way. That's the only direction it can go. We got a question from David Bowen. Says, "Yo, what are the odds of the AFC Championship game coming to Buffalo? Good luck, Steelers." Well, you got to play.
Well, I'll answer that, Rico. You don't want the Steelers to win if you want the AFC Championship in Buffalo.
No, you don't.
What will happen is you want the Chiefs to win today. The Bills go to Arrowhead and win. Then you need the Bengals to knock off the Titans. And I got to tell you, Rico, that's exactly what I think happens. I think the Bengals beat the Titans. I think KC wins today. The Bills go to Arrowhead. I something about it, and maybe it's just last night getting to me, but I actually predicted this before the game, even yesterday. I think since he's legit, Burrow is that dude, man. Burrow is that dude. He is nice. And he looked good yesterday. They're beating Tennessee. And I think it's coming to Buffalo. And if you thought last night was rowdy in there, look out. And I that's where my money's on right now. That's what I see. So to answer his question, that's how it happens. And I see it.
How beautiful would it be where you have teams that have been in the dungeon for quite some time? I mean, in our respective conferences and divisions, could be that the Bills and Bengals in an AFC Championship.
Imagine. That's why I was rooting for the Browns last year, because I was hoping for that same situation where you're talking about two franchises.
It almost happened.
Yeah, exactly.
It almost happened. My goodness. And you know what? The Bengals are the real deal. I mean, they got a really good nucleus at the receiver position. They got a good nucleus at running back. Mixon is legit.
And they're all young, Rico. They're going to be good for a while.
That O-line is the only one that I question. You got some studs on there, but that O-line is a little bit. But that defense is not bad, man. They got some good pass rushers. But you know what? Speaking of the line, let's get right into it, because I am excited about this O-line the Bills have that have materialized over the last 4 weeks. And I'll tell you right now, Ryan Bates makes all the difference. I am a Ryan Bates freaking stan. I never thought I'd ever freaking say something like that, but man, I'm excited about Ryan Bates. I'll tell you this, man. When Ryan Bates was input into this lineup, it made everyone better. It allows everybody to do their job and not have to worry about this guy and that guy. I can just focus on my job my task, and let Josh Allen do what he's supposed to do. There was a beautiful, actually off the touchdown from Devin Singletary. You had Reggie Gilliam pulling around. You had Ryan Bates pulling around, kicks out his guy. Reggie Gilliam blasted number 58, or was it 54? I think it was Hightower. And there goes Devin Singletary in for the touchdown. I'm telling you right now, man, this lineup is the lineup going forward. And that's what's going to get us going where we need to go, right? Because we were always worried about like Butker, Cody Ford. There goes that mistake, because it's mistakes. Listen, we had 3 penalties yesterday for 47 yards. I can't remember the last time we only had 3 penalties. So this is huge. This is no false starts, no holding, right? No linemen going above and beyond where they're not supposed to be. This is a smart group, a group that knows what's going on. And get this, Ryan Bates is only 24 years old. You've got Deion Dawkins still what, 27, I believe, give or take. You're saying, and you want to go all the way to the right-hand side of the line. Spencer Brown, rookie. Man, I'm excited about this O-line, man. I never thought I'd say this, but this nucleus is a freaking good nucleus. You tell me how you thought. You saw the line. You saw the line during the game. I mean, at the rock pile, you were all the way up to the rock pile, but you could still see how the line was moving the pile. What did it look like to you from the stands?
I don't. The one thing that I took away from it mostly in regard to the line is the time that Allen had was just absolutely absurd. I mean, there's a reason that he had that much time for the Knox throw. We're talking the longest amount of time in the pocket in over 3 seasons. It was insane. I mean, that to me, outside of the run game, which has been elevated because of the recent resurgence of this offensive line, the reason that Allen was able to have a day like he did yesterday is because of the protection he had. No sacks. And not only was he not sacked, it was never even close. I mean, they never even got close to touching him. So I honestly, Rico, I have no explanation for it. If you were to tell me Ryan Bates, who I've never heard of in my life, is going to come in and all of a sudden this line is going to be looking like, top tier, I got no explanation for it. I don't think anybody really does, but I don't really care because it's working, and it could not be working at a better time. The fact that they figured that out when they did, I mean, wild. It's absolutely wild. But to answer your question, yeah, it looked like it was a thing of beauty. The whole thing. Just everything was flawless. It was gorgeous.
From what I understand, Ryan Bates is a Penn State alum. That's number one. So he's gritty and he's used to this type of weather. Nothing crazy, right? Secondly, we traded for him from the Eagles. The Eagles had him over there, and the beautiful thing about Ryan Bates is that he's versatile. He can go from left to right. Mm-hmm. That was why we brought him in, because McDermott wants everybody to be able to play everything. And that was your main guy. And Ryan Bates coming to Buffalo and sitting on the sideline, maybe it was a blessing in disguise, man. We needed him to season. He seasoned himself enough where now he's like, I'm ready to take this opportunity and really be a foundation on this team. But my goodness, what a beautiful play. And listen, man, Josh Allen throwing for 5 touchdown passes. And the icing on the cake was the pass to Tommy Doyle. Big boy Tommy Doyle, unfreaking believable.
I mean, you want to talk about just utter disrespect. You're up 40-10, and they toss a touchdown to a rookie lineman. And that was the biggest middle finger I have ever seen. And dude, I mean, it got to at that point, and me and my dad, and we had the exact same feeling as we were talking about it after. Yep. It was so dominant and so absurd the way the offense was cooking. You didn't even know how to celebrate anymore. Every time they scored, it was almost, you didn't even know what to do. Like your mouth would just drop and you were just like, no way that just happened. That's what was going on. Like I've never been so at a loss for words, where like it got to the point where like, how do you even celebrate this anymore? Because I don't even know what's going on. This is insane. What am I watching?
The only way you can celebrate is by high-fiving, take a chug.
And we were hugging, man. It was unreal up there. I mean, it was a love affair. And we had one Pats guy near us, the poor bastard. This dude went and got a hot dog when it was like 20-0, and he just stood there. The poor guy, everybody was like consoling him. I mean, imagine that's where we got to. Where there's one Patriots fan around you and you're like patting him on the back, like, hey man, I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
It's a sorry sight because you're watching a Patriots fan with a hot dog in his hand, just getting his.
That was the highlight of his night, Rico. A $20 hot dog that probably tasted like ass. That was the highlight of his night.
And his team was getting the hot dog. We were giving the Patriots team the hot dog.
And there was a silicone hot dog that made its way onto the field too. There was hot dogs everywhere last night.
Let me tell you something. First and foremost, what end zone was that hot dog thrown?
Okay, let me please tell you this story because this is absolutely absurd. Okay, so the Patriots score that touchdown on 4th down, and something flies onto the end zone. And so where I'm at, I am in that end zone. That's where I'm sitting.
Oh, now, you're there.
I'm in that end zone. So the rock pile to me, it's perfect because it's not too high up, it's not too low. It's the perfect vantage point. But from where I was, it looked like a flag. So everybody that I'm sitting around is convinced that, because I don't know who caught the ball, I forget, but he was wide open. So everybody was convinced it was offensive pass interference because that's how he got so open. So we see that thing on the field, right? Everybody thinks it's a flag. Everybody. So we're all like, what the hell? Because no one's saying anything. No refs getting on the mic. So we're like, what the hell? And then all of us are like, they kicked the extra point, and we're all like, I've never seen a flag go on the field where a ref does not at least address that they're going to pick it up. We find out 5 minutes later from Twitter that it was a damn dildo, and it wasn't a flag.
Hot dog.
And I got to be honest, I've never been happier in my life for a non-call or a non-flag, because to find out that that was a dildo was the icing on the cake. It was fantastic.
We're gonna call that the glizzy flag.
Yeah.
Glizzy flag. Let me tell you. Here's my question. I don't know how long you fixated your eyes on that silicone hot dog, but how did it get removed off the field?
That I don't know. Well, you got to remember, I thought it was a flag, so I assumed the ref picked it up. I had no clue.
Because I'm thinking, am I a sideline attendant? Am I a referee? Am I picking that thing? Am I bare fisting that silicone hot dog and trying to find somewhere to dispose of this?
I mean, as punishment, you got to make the Patriots pick it up. I mean, after that game, pick that thing up, pick it up, and take it home with you.
I was like, if it's you, if they're like, hey, Zach, we need you to get something on the field. We don't know what it is. I think it's a flag. I'm not sure. Can you go get it? You find out that it's a silicone hot dog. What do you do with it?
Oh, I'm taking it and running around the field with it like a trophy. That's what I'm doing, because that's what's got to be done. I mean, it's become synonymous. Bills, Patriots in Buffalo. There is going to be a silicone hot dog on the field at some point.
Well, the great thing is, I don't know who had to bare fist that thing and take that thing, but if it were me, I would have to just kick that thing to the sideline, not touching it. I don't know where it's been, who it's been in.
Well, I think they just sent it off to Canton. It's on display at the Football Hall of Fame. Well, that's what I'm hearing.
That's two glizzies that we've seen on the field now. I wonder what happens if they just get disposed, or it's lost and found. Whose is it? Come get it. I don't know what's going on. Somebody's initials on it. Who knows? But there it is. That's actually a hilarious story, because everybody thought it was a flag, but it's not.
And I'm to everybody, like nobody knew what that was. Not a soul.
Someone pick up the flag.
Yeah, we're like, what the hell? Where's the call? Bring the play back. And it was a dildo.
I absolutely love it. So here's the deal, man. Josh Allen, I'm not ready to say he owns the Patriots like he owns the Dolphins, because he really owns the Dolphins. But this could be a long time coming, right? Listen, the last 4 games, we are 4-1. Excuse me, 5 games. We are 4-1 against these Patriots. How lovely is that, number one? And Josh Allen has thrown for 600 yards this year alone. 600 yards against these Patriots, and he's got 8 touchdowns with no interceptions. Wow.
And it's not like they've died on defense, Rico. They were number 2 going in there. You know what I mean? Like, yes, and then of course the whole narrative, Bill Belichick's the GOAT against young quarterbacks. Well, no, you can't. He's got no idea how to coach against Josh Allen. Not a clue.
So here's the question though: what went wrong with these Patriots? What happened?
Everything.
I'm trying to
think they know, man. I don't even think they know. I mean, what do you even do at that point? Like, me and my dad we were talking in the stands. Like, what do you think Belichick said at half? Because that game was over. You knew damn well that they don't have the offense to even come close to pulling a comeback. That game was done. And I'm wondering what the hell he said. But what went wrong? I mean, what went right? They didn't do a damn thing right the whole night. They got destroyed in every facet of the game. No adjustments, which is rare from Belichick. You go into the half 27-3, you allow another 20 points. I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, that's another reason it was so special.
Here's the funny thing. So the score is 27-3, and Max at work decided to tweet out, "We've seen this score before. Remember 28-3? You know what I'm saying?" And he left it at that. I was like, "Fam, this is so different." First of all,
we know how accurate his judgment is at this point, because you know what he told us. He told us it was going to be the opposite.
He came on the show yesterday. He came on the show and
he did.
Oh, he ate crow, and he was a gentleman about it.
He's a man of his word.
He was a man of his word. He came in and handled his business. Now, I have to say this though, man. Like, I'm looking at this Patriots team, and I'm like, okay, they're going to try to run the football. We shut down the running of the football. We didn't give any gaps. We closed everything down. These guys were rallying to the football. Okay, they're going to try to dink and dunk like they normally do. We shut that thing down too. So it was just a complete game from this team. Now, special teams, and it's very hard and difficult to find where we can find, okay, where is the tough part to find. I'm still worried about the special teams, because although it was great to see Micah Hyde return that almost for a touchdown, which it
Yeah.
was looking good. It was looking mighty good.
It was.
He trips over his feet, or he trips over, I think it was Reggie Gilliam. I don't know. Somebody's trying to make a block for him.
He was on his way.
I don't want to see him return the football.
I
Although
agree.
I'm really confident in him fielding these punts, I don't want him to be back there because all it takes is a tweaked freaking ankle, whatever you call it. You know, you agree with me. We don't like that's going to be frustrating for the upcoming game because we need all phases of the game to be on top of it. I mean, we didn't really have to punt, right? We didn't have to punt because we didn't have to even hit a fourth down. That's number one. Field goals, we don't know what field goals are. We only do PATs. We didn't even have to hit a damn field goal. It was epic. It was an epic game, epic performance. And somebody said it. Playoffs are where legends are born. I don't know who said it, but like this is where you start really building your resume. And right now, Josh Allen was doing the damn thing, and you can't be happier, you can't be prouder for a guy like that. And this is the guy that's going to be leading our team for years to come. So you got to give him a shout out. And speaking of shout outs, we got to give a shout out to everybody that's tuned in right now. We got 453 people tuned in. Give us a little love.
Love it, baby.
Love it, baby. So here's the deal. I'm looking at this defense, and I'm sure you were paying attention to the defense and how can we shut it down that Tremaine Edmonds had a damn good game?
Yep. I mean, and not only that, where we were sitting, there was a series. It was, I think, when New England scored, he was talking some junk. I loved it. He was getting up in people's face. Tremaine, yeah. Yeah. He was getting, and there was some shoving. I loved it. And I told you this the other night. I don't understand the insane criticism. Is it because he's not, Brian Urlacher? That's what I don't understand. Like, I think he's been a fine piece, and he's a captain. And like you said, he had a great game last night. So you're right. I'd like that to be put to bed for now.
Put that to bed. I'm telling you right now, man, because like listen, we can't make every tackle. I mean, sometimes it's like when I'll take it to basketball, right? Like Zion Williamson right now is being a disappointment. He's heavy. His injuries are getting in the way, and there was a lot of expectation, right? I'll even go further. I mean, this might you may not know who this player is, but Greg Oden. Greg Oden came in as the next big hype, big boy. Injuries took place. He just didn't fall into how we wanted him to fall in. All right. So look at you guys. I think we had too high of expectation for Tremaine Edmonds, and now it's to the point where it's an obsession. They don't want any parts of giving him his love. Yo, it's about time we give him his love. I had to give Devin Singletary his love when I was saying Zach Moss should be the guy. I had to give freaking Dawson Knox his love so these are a lot of things that Bills fans, you're just gonna have to just pipe down and just give these guys some love. And there's one person that can speak on the love that should be shown to our guy Tremaine Edmonds, and that's our guy Kendall. Kendall, you ready to come through and show some love right now? My man Kendall. Kendall, what's happening, man?
What's going on, guys? I didn't realize we were doing an afternoon show. I got caught off guard. I saw the DM and I was like, yeah, we going live at 8 p.m. tonight. And then I was like, oh shit, they're on right now.
No time to waste.
Did I say 8 p.m.? I shouldn't have said that. 8 p.m.
No, you didn't say shit.
Okay.
I just assumed.
Here we are,
dude.
Talk to
Edmonds, in all honesty, I didn't think he had like the greatest game in the world, but that's kind of the name of the game with Edmonds. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect to be re-signable. It doesn't need to be perfect to be this elite guy that we need. We just need someone to do their 111th and to not make big mistakes like, that missed tackle in the hole against Tampa Bay. Like,
right.
Yeah, that stings, but that shouldn't write the book on Tremaine Edmonds. And I think that's usually where I come with Tremaine Edmonds, where I'm just like, pump the brakes. Like, one play doesn't write a book on a guy. It's, he's, I don't want to use the age thing, but he's only 23. Like, his book is yet to be written.
Rico loves the age thing. Rico loves
the baby. Okay. So Kendall, were you at the game yesterday?
No. I'm in Utah.
Oh, you're in Utah?
Yeah, I'm in Utah. I moved from LA to Utah like in August.
Los Angeles to Utah.
Yeah,
what a move. Good for you. Good for you. Nobody wants to leave what is Sunshine State? Was that they call it? Sunshine State?
I don't even know what they call
it. Am I wrong?
Florida's the sunshine.
Well, I don't know what California would
State.
Be.
Who knows? It's the city of bright lights. We'll call it that. You're in Utah. So I need you to give me your perspective on this game because we've been talking about it this afternoon. First of all, game-changing play. What was the play for you that was like, okay, that's it. That's when we know I'm gonna win. We're gonna win this game. What was it for you?
It's kind of funny because Clay, when we were talking this whole week, Clay was a big advocate for starting with the ball, receiving at the beginning of the game, scoring a touchdown, getting in front, because, being in front of the game script is going to go a long way for the Bills against the Patriots. And they went ahead and did that. And then twofold, the other side of that is, of course, getting a stop right after an opening touchdown like that. And everyone's saying it in the chat, like, that Hyde INT, in my mind, that was the moment. That was the momentum swing. I was actually watching with some friends, Pats fans, on Discord virtually. Yeah, that was pretty fun. But they were
Those aren't friends.
They were down bad. They were down bad after that Hyde INT. They knew playing from behind is not the forte of this team. That's not how the Patriots win. That's not their formula to victory. So starting with that early touchdown and then taking away a touchdown from them, because that was a touchdown. Like, that was a beautiful ball. That was well-run route. We were in cover one. He was playing center field, and he just pulled a Ken Griffey Jr. and just robbed that home run.
Unbelievable. Yeah. Now, I feel that, I honestly, if I know that he thought he had a touchdown there, but could he have fought a little bit to kind of disrupt the? But
yeah, maybe.
Oh man,
it was. If anything, I feel like the argument could be like maybe Mac Jones could have put that more towards the pylon, more towards the boundary than anything. But even then, like, you got to give credit where credit is due. And I haven't been listening to a lot of New England media this morning. I probably should go back and listen. But my guess is that they're not giving credit where credit is due, and they're just saying, oh, we're shit, we're ass, we're the New York Jets, all that stuff that Portnoy is saying. It's like, no, the Patriots, you guys are still a good team. Maybe just give some credit to the Bills for being a great team.
Well, and here's the thing. Zebot just said it. This was a number 2 ranked defense.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So give us credit. So it's funny. You just mentioned this. By the way, before we get there, we got a super chat coming in from Rad24. He says, hey, be rad. Let's go. Great day to be a Bills fan. It is a fantastic day to be a Bills fan. That's for damn sure. Now here, so I'm online and I'm perusing through and I'm looking all through these things, and we've got a TV setcom that's going on right now. And this one guy was like, the Bills are just not that good. They're not that good. And his co-host is like, what are you talking about? They just killed us. They literally just came in and just took care of business. And
what else could they have done for him? I just want to know that, by the way. Like, what else had to happen?
I don't know.
What a moron that guy is. And he played the sport too?
I don't know if he played the sport. His name is Mike Hawley. I don't know who Mike Hawley is, but
he's an idiot.
All he kept on saying was, they've only beaten 2 playoff teams, and it's us and the Chiefs. That's it. Those other wins they got were just against garbage teams. Like, stop it.
To everyone using that like strength of schedule argument, go look at the Bills and where they rank in DVOA, because that's weighted into the stat DVOA. It weights your strength of opponent. And when you see the Bills are top 15 in everything, and I say top 15 because the only thing they're outside of the top 5 in is run defense. That's the only thing. And we know that's the one area that this Bills team could be better. And they're still 13th, which is crazy. And they probably got better with that game yesterday.
And also the margin of victory. Yeah, okay. They play, but they haven't just snuck out these wins against those teams. They beat the living shit out of every single one of them.
With the exception of the Jags. With the exception of the Jags. But
every good team this year had one of those games, like a Jags game. It was weird. This whole season, every good team had one of them,
I mean, listen, the freaking Green Bay Packers got absolutely destroyed week 1. And we knew it was early. Week 1s are very, it's 50-50, right? You don't know what's going on. Everybody's trying to read everybody else.
It was weird for us. The Steelers, we play them again. Good God. I mean, that would be.
I know. I feel much differently about that.
Yeah. But what a game. To me, and I think I agree with you, that Micah Hyde totally switched everything. It devastated. You could hear a pin drop, and I'm sure in every Patriots party that was being had across the country, it was not good. And Patriots fans don't know how to act. I've had 3 messages thus far saying, I don't know how you guys did this for 20 years because I don't know how to feel right now. I don't know how to deal. And the only way to deal is pray that you have a really good offseason and go back at it again. That's the only way. And maybe some drinking. I have no idea.
That's exactly what I've told all my past fans, all of them. I'm like, look, this is what I did my entire life. This is why I'm so into the draft. I'm just used to turning my eyes to the draft in like November.
So true. It's so true. It's so true. And we have got to get used to playing in these December, January games. I have a friend of mine he's a Dallas Cowboys fan. He's always talking junk. He's like, listen, all these wins you have in October and September, it means nothing. Wait till you get to December, January. That's when it really matters. Well, guess what? True. It's mattering right now, and we're doing it right now. So
you know what else is the problem with them too, real quick? They're never going to be bad enough to have a really good pick either. That's the thing. They're always going to be middle of the pack mediocre, and that's going to be an issue for them. Because they're never going to be bad enough to where they're up top. And that's really tough to build around when you're picking in like the early 20s. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's not a good place to pick.
So that's what you guys all know Kevin. That's what that drives Kevin to almost drinking and just being in depression because his Dolphins are always middle of the pack.
Always in the hunt. Always in the hunt.
Always. So their picks are never so great. They have to like package a few things. I mean, Larry Tunsil, that whole package helped them out a lot. But at the end of the day, they're always in the middle, finishing 8-8, 7-9, 9-7, always in the middle. So that's always going to be hurtful. So that's a really good point for the Patriots because they're never going to be picking number 1 or from the top 10. And
as long as Belichick is there, they're never going to be that low. Never.
It's not going to happen. Speaking of Belichick.
Go ahead, Rico, because I want to talk about that too.
Jump in there.
I had a long conversation about this last night. I was at the game with my dad, my godfather, and my cousin. We had a long conversation about this. When does he just say, you know what? It's over. It's over. You're never, ever, ever, ever touching what he had done the last 20 years. And now it's complete rebuild. And you saw last night the gap between where they are and where the top of the league is. He's not getting any younger, and they're not touching that anytime soon. And knowing him, there's no way you're ever satisfied until you completely reach the top. And even then, he never seems satisfied. You think he's going to be even close to satisfied now? When does he just sit back and tell himself, hey, it's done? I mean, realistically, is it worth it for him at his age to continue coaching this team, knowing damn well that you look at it right now? I mean, yeah, they had a decent season for sure, but when you really get down to it, the difference between them and the top of the league, it's pretty sizable. I just wonder with him, when do you hang the cleats up? When do you put the headset up? It's got to be a question you got to ask at this point.
I'll answer that in two prongs. First prong is what they did this year reminds me a lot of what the Bills did in 2017. Like they just outperformed expectations. They snuck their way into the playoffs. They probably shouldn't have been there, and they're just ahead of schedule in that regard in terms of what they were doing this year with the roster that they had. That being said, I feel like that loss last night probably shaved a few years off of what he expected to be doing with this team. I feel like, yeah, he feels good about, Mac Jones, and, he actually has a decent quarterback. It's not like this dude is absolute garbage and he can win some games with him. But when you see how difficult it is to game plan a defensive plan around Josh Allen and how dominant Josh Allen has been once he actually has some pieces around him, because, I mean, let's be honest, Josh Allen wasn't doing anything special against the Patriots, in his first couple of years. But now that he has some protection, he has some weapons, all that kind of stuff, it's hard to game plan against him. And I really think it's taking, not like 5 years off the back end of what he wants to do. And, we're going to see him retire this offseason. But I think Belichick might retire a little bit sooner than we're all thinking because of the realization maybe a lot of it was Tom.
Listen, here's the beautiful thing about this whole situation. I mean, with being part of BF, you build a lot of relationships with other content creators. I have a content creator now that represents the mother effing Patriots, and that's my guy Ray. Ray,
oh boy,
talk to me, Ray. Are you okay?
Let me tell you why all you fucking Buffalo guys are assholes. Okay, I did my rounds last week. I did this show, Dan Mitchell hashtag. And all week I kept saying, I think the Bills are going to lay a beating on the Patriots. And all week, No, they're not. You guys fucking argued with me that the Patriots were better than they were, to the fact that I got so heated with you over it that I was trying to tell you how shit the Patriots were. And listen,
you didn't expect this though. I don't think anybody expected this.
No. And like I was on the Buffalo Rumblings on a Twitter space yesterday with like guys from Pat's Pulpit, guys from the Buffalo Rumbling, like just a guy from NBC.
Right.
And everybody had a close game. Like everybody, I think we all took the Bills, but everybody had a close game. I think yesterday, what was shocking, but it maybe shouldn't have, if you look at the last 5 weeks of the season, was watching the defense get overrun. We knew everybody knew that the Patriots weren't going to win with their offense, that Patriots team was going to go as far as their defense brought them and the opportunities that they set up. I also think too, like for me, even in blowout games like this, like football comes down to 5 or 6 plays that completely change complexions of games.
Or 7 possessions.
Or if it's 7-7 and not a pick and a touchback in the end zone.
What we talked about.
Exactly. How does that change the mentality of the game? And a fucking an unbelievable play. You know what I mean? Like an unbelievable play. What we saw the Patriots do last night, outside of, taking a shit kicking and just being completely overrun by the Bills, was, again, even on that first drive, even without the big play, like Brandon Bolden dropping the ball 30 yards downfield. The penalties, even the last play of the game that meant nothing, or the last couple of plays that meant nothing, and Hunter Henry and Mac Jones can't connect wide open in the end zone. Like, I just kind of laughed and said, this is the game. This is
it's
the game,
kind of
right?
night.
Like this is the game. What got exposed in that Bills game was our middle linebacking core, which was a concern for me. My man Dante Hightower, who's one of my favorite all-time players, I've said it all year, he has lost a step. He didn't play all last year. He opted out. He came back. He looks like an old man. When Juwan Bentley went down early, I just knew we were fucked. You know what I mean? Like there was and one thing that the Patriots need to address this offseason is the right side of the defensive line, because I would say after the Colts kind of showed it how to neutralize Matt Judon. And then once you neutralize Matthew Judon, there was no fear on the other side. You saw the line shifting towards blocking him. You got rid of Christian Bar. You had to take care of 2 guys, Christian Barmore in the middle, Judon on the right side, or on the left side, I apologize. And the right side of the defensive line, the edges, whether it was Dietrich Weiss, Josh Uche, whoever they put there, could get no penetration, not just against the Bills, but against any of the teams that they played, including Jacksonville coming on the other side. So I think, listen, I can flex this. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was, I was on an AFC East roundtable. Sam Darnold was the little pretty boy of the AFC East. Tom Brady was the old grizzled vet. And I sat at that AFC East roundtable and I said, Josh Allen is going to be the best quarterback in this division when he is polished up. You can see what this kid has. He's the least polished at this moment, but after Tom Brady, he's going to be the best quarterback in this division. The Jets guy laughed at me. The Dolphins guy laughed at me. The fucking Bills guy laughed at me when I said it, right? It was going to be Sam Darnold was going to be the next, guy in the division. Right. Josh Allen is exactly what I thought Josh Allen was going to be. And you saw that. I always see the comparisons to Lamar Jackson when it comes to Josh Allen. And I always say there is no comparison, because
I hate that.
Josh Allen, number one, Josh Allen can kill you with his legs if he wants to, but the threat with his arm is so superior to Lamar Jackson's. To the point of, someone asked me the other day prior to the game, one of my Patreon members said, hey, do they run Josh Allen enough? That's what they said, or too much. Sorry. Do they run him too much as a risk of injury? Yada, yada. And I said, if I had Josh Allen, I would have 8 plays a game that are just quarterback designed runs. I said, because he's just as dangerous with his legs as he is with his arm. He's probably, and it's a big statement. I'm gonna make a big statement right now. He's probably the biggest dual threat quarterback since Michael Vick, in my mind. Like, it's when it comes to how dangerous he can be with both his legs and his arm. Pisses me off that he's in the fucking division for the next 10 years or whatever it's going to be. And what you're going to see now is the Patriots got exposed yesterday in a way that I think other teams have this year as well. They were so scared of Josh Allen's legs that they weren't throwing pressure at him. Mm-hmm. However, he's so good with his legs, they still weren't able to contain him. So I go all the way back to Super Bowl 49, and the game plan they had against Russell Wilson was almost identical to the game plan they had for Josh Allen last night. The difference is the Patriots didn't have the dogs to do it. And that was the biggest grasp. Listen, my preseason pick, and this isn't me the day after. I've been consistent with this across the board, and you know this.
Go ahead.
My preseason pick was the Buffalo Bills. I said they're going to be the AFC representatives of the Super Bowl. The way they played last night, the way they played against the Chiefs on fucking Canadian Thanksgiving back in October was the Buffalo Bills team I expected this whole season. Not the Bills team that lost to Jacksonville. Not the Bills team that had an unimpressive win against Atlanta and New York to finish the season. The team we saw last night was like, okay, this is the Buffalo Bills team flexing their muscles and going. And the fact that you guys in the last 3 weeks, and a big shout out to, I don't know if it's Dayball, McDermott, or a combination of both, to figure out how to get Devin Singletary going, makes that team that much more dangerous heading in. I look at this division, I look at this conference, and listen, almost every team outside of the Steelers would have beat the Patriots last night. So I'm not taking this because you beat us and I'm going all for like they're going to win. Let's be real, okay? Almost every – I had the Patriots –
The game plan was tight. The Buffalo Bills game plan was super tight.
What we saw last night was what I predicted. I predicted this Patriots team would win 8 games. They won 10 games because they got a lucky stretch of 7 games. I always said the 2022 season was the season that I would start having expectations. So they exceeded expectations this year, and they played like an 8-8 team pretty much down the stretch when they had to play Indy, Buffalo, and then even Miami, and then Buffalo again. So I don't look the Chiefs. They're not going to beat Buffalo. They don't have the defense to beat Buffalo. I mean,
We'll see. I mean, you can never say never. I mean,
but you guys dropped what was it, 44 points or whatever it was last night.
But losing to the Jaguars makes us feel very Billsy at heart, where it's like we can still beat any team in this league, but we can lose to any team in this league.
There it is.
And that variance is killer.
But I'm going to throw this out at you though. 2018, when the Patriots lost or won the Super Bowl against the Rams, they lost to the Detroit Lions. That I think had 3 Matt Patricia Detroit Lions that had 3 wins. They lost to the Jaguars who had 2 wins that season, one of them up against the Patriots. That shit happens, right? Yeah. I was more worried about Buffalo when they beat Atlanta and New York, because I watched both those games in their entirety and thought, this doesn't look like an impressive. Like, this is good teams are supposed to beat up on bad teams, and they didn't. And that was my worry. Last night, they beat up on, I don't want to call the Patriots a bad team, but they beat up on a team that we know from top to bottom, outside of the fucking punters, are superior in every way. You know what I mean? They beat up on a team that they should have beat up on.
Hold up, Ray. Kendall, I have a question for you. Do you think there's enough, is there enough room on the bandwagon to bring Ray on?
No, fuck that. Fuck that.
Listen,
I'm a realist. You know I'm a realist. I'm always a realist when I talk sports. I can't talk shit. I will not be cheering for the Buffalo Bills. I live in Buffalo Bill country. I'm going to have to eat this shit for the next 12 months, okay? However, you got to tip your hat, and I'll tip my hat to you boys. You got to tip your hat. Whereas this team is, from top to bottom, is too good. You're better than every other team from top to bottom.
You feel we are Super Bowl bound?
Yeah, I said that in August. I mean it even more now. I mean, who's a better right now? Right, maybe long term, we don't know, but right at this moment, right now, who's a better quarterback than Josh Allen?
Aaron Rodgers.
No,
yeah, that's like the only one that comes to mind. But it's still the only thing is, like, all of these are only arguments. You know, like, you can't sit here and say definitively right. Like, all of these are just, I could debate Tom Brady's better. I could debate Mahomes is better. I could debate, but at the end of the day, like, we ride or die with our guy Josh Allen, and I think all of us think he's better than all of those guys. But there is still a debate to be had.
For sure.
Too, he can also do that if he beats Mahomes next weekend, right? He's guaranteed to get Brady or Rodgers in the Super Bowl. So if they do wind up accomplishing what Ray, and by the way, Ray comes in with just the most unbelievable mentality from a Patriots fan you will ever see in your damn life. So everybody. You want to tip your cap to somebody, tip it to Ray. For God's sake.
I'm Canadian.
Unrivaled objectivity.
I'm Canadian. I'm Canadian. That's just how we are. But
if you want to sell that argument, right, you got a chance to do that the next couple weeks here.
I need can I do a quick soundbite though? And I'm going to clip this from your show, and I got to post it places. Can I do a quick soundbite? You cool with that?
Go ahead, man. Let's go.
For all the Patriot fans who have put on your Tampa Bay Buccaneer jerseys today and have changed your avatars to Tampa Bay Buccaneer Tom Brady jerseys, fuck you. And please, please do not come back next season. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
because a lot of them came back because all of a sudden it was like, oh, whoa, maybe the Patriots will be competitive for a while, right? But after fucking one loss, they're all Tampa fans again. And I want the bandwagon to completely unload and just stay unloaded. So
we were just saying this. You guys are going to be in the the category of with the Dolphins. Never going to be terrible, but you guys are going to struggle with being winning Super Bowls for the next 5 to 10 years. I'll do a short window, 5 to 10 years. So you're always going to be picking in the middle of the draft. So it's going to be, and Bill Belichick doesn't have a great track record on drafting, say some studs. So it is going to be very interesting to see how you guys play out the next 5.
Well, he doesn't have a great track record on drafting offensive studs. Defensively, right. You're talking guys like Chandler Jones. You're talking guys like Hightower, McCourty, Jamie Collins. There's a long Vince Wilfork, Christian Barmore. Yep. Let's see what Ronnie Perkins does next year. We got McGrath who's sitting out, who basically was IR this year.
Yeah, he could be
IR. Yeah, sorry. So here's the thing. So Belichick confirmed today he's coming back.
How long do you think he has?
Yeah, we were just talking about that, right? Your thoughts on that, because that's interesting to us.
So this is a debate that we've had over and over again. I think the Patriots could have somehow pulled it off this year, which I never thought they would have. But I thought if they could have somehow made a Cinderella run and won the Super Bowl, he would have retired after this year. He went without Brady. He would have done this, and there would have been no more debate and whatever. Right? I think another 3-4 years probably. Probably 7, because he's gonna be 70. He's turning 70 this year, so probably like 7. Probably I'd give him up to 75. He's just that kind of guy. Like Coughlin hung around until his mid 70s, right? So I could see him hanging around until mid 70s. I think if they get to an AFC Championship game and lose a tight AFC Championship game, I think that might be good enough to say, look what I can do with this team. You know what I mean? Like I've got 8 rings as a head coach and an assistant coach. I'm sorry, now I got to throw it at you guys. My defense completely single-handedly shut down what was one of the best offenses in the NFL in the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? That was my defense who did that. I think his resume is strong enough. I don't get into the whole who's more responsible, Brady or Belichick. Like they both contributed to this. And I heard when I first came in, like maybe it was Bill, you're young. It's okay. Go back and watch the first 3 Super Bowls that had nothing to do with Tom Brady. And to me, that's where the debate ends.
That's right. That's very fair. Because when Tom Brady was starting, it was a very similar arc to Mac Jones, where it's like this team isn't built around what Tom Brady is doing, keeping this offense afloat. It's built around him game managing, and then it evolved into what Tom Brady became.
Absolutely. And listen,
go ahead. Sorry, man.
No, I was just gonna say, and as a Patriots fan, like I'm okay. I really am with not winning a Super Bowl for 10 years. Like, who the fuck am I to cry foul? Or, I mean, the NFL is supposed to be set up that you win a Super Bowl every 32 years. That's really what it's supposed to be. That's what the parody of the NFL is supposed to be. That there's a new Super Bowl winner every year. Obviously, it doesn't work out that way. Yeah. Quarterbacks can go a lot more important, make things more important. However, after everything I've seen happen in the last 20 years, and I started with the Bledsoe days, so it's not like I was I jumped on with Brady. I started in the Bledsoe days. He's my favorite player, like when I was 8 years old. To me, it's if we're competitive, there's always a chance. My thing is always get to the playoffs. Get to the playoffs, and you have a chance. Yep. So that's all. That's all I'm really asking for out of this Patriots team for the next few years. If we go through 7 and 9 for 5-6 years, then I might start getting a little frustrated.
I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the ceiling for Mac Jones and what the expectation is once he winds up getting into a stride within his career. I mean, what do you see from him right now? That is there any excitement with Mac Jones right now, or is it just kind of, this is what it is for the foreseeable future, and I don't quite know if it's ever going to be anything, that takes the league over or even close to it.
And on top of that, when you answer that, and then I was gonna double down. Great that you went there, because that's what I wanted to say too. Is in this Tom Brady comparison and early Tom, get into what you feel about that topic, and then this Tom Brady comparison. I'm curious about that.
So it's a fair question, and it's one that I answer quite a lot. So I pretty much got this answer packed down now. I think that Mac Jones and Justin Herbert are very similar. They came in as who they were. With Josh Allen, you could see there was skill sets underneath the surface that needed to be polished and needed to come out, and he needed to learn how to stand in the pocket a little bit more, and he had to learn a couple of these skills, right? And now as he's done it and he's taking those leaps, I think what we've seen out of Mac Jones is we're going to get a better version of it, but it's not going to be anything. He's going to get a little, I mean, listen, just hang around the NFL long enough, especially they talk about the kid being smart. He's going to be able to start reading defenses a little bit better. The arm's going to get a little bit stronger. He's not suddenly going to become a rushing quarterback. He's suddenly not going to be running bootlegs every second snap. Like it's just not his skill set. And I see the same thing with Justin Herbert. I think they came in kind of who they are, and they're just going to get better. Where that ceiling lands, I mean, with a guy like Mac Jones, the sky's not the limit, but it's all going to come down to his development. It's going to come down to, can he keep that focus? Can he keep the attitude he has now? And I think he's going to be a really good game managing quarterback. And I don't say that insulting. Like, people use the term game manager as an insulting term. If there's Patriot fans on here, go fuck yourself. I know you're going to get mad at me. I watched my team win 6 Super Bowls with a game managing quarterback. You know what I mean? With probably the best, greatest game managing quarterback of all time. Yep. It's not a knock on Tom Brady. He managed the game, made plays when he needed to play, got very smart, was able to decipher a defense and pick them apart. No one's ever going to look at Tom Brady and say that's the epitome of male athletics, right? Like, it's just not. I'm almost as athletic as Tom Brady. So and I think that's what a Mac Jones is. When it comes to the Tom Brady comparisons, like, Tom Brady is Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady is Tom Brady. It's how can you, first of all, how can you compare anybody to Tom Brady in the sense of accomplishments? Because there's nobody who's even close to it now. The guy's won 7 Super Bowls. I understand that Mac Jones is going to live in that shadow of Tom Brady. He's going to live in that shadow of, oh, this is what the guy did for us. And I think that he's going to go through his whole career, because there's enough of us that grew up in the Brady era who are going to continue to live through the Mac era. He's not going to turn into Tom Brady. Nobody is. Like, I mean,
Brady, man, that's it.
Well, and Peyton Manning is Peyton Manning, and you know, Brett Favre is Brett Favre, and fuck, Jim Kelly was Jim Kelly. Like, they're all their own quarterbacks, they're all their own people. And I think that, like, I always say, like, when Brady came in, I always want to do the imagination thing. Like, what if Twitter and YouTube and all that existed in 2001 when Bill Belichick elected to bench Drew Bledsoe and keep Tom Brady? Because I can, to this day, my dad and I still laugh about it, going into the Super Bowl and Tom Brady starting, and my dad saying to me, yeah, this fucking Belichick is done next year playing this Brady bum. You got Drew Bledsoe on the bench and you're playing this fucking bum of a kid, you know, like, we're going to lose the Super Bowl now. And then, you know, the rest is history. Like, you know, hindsight, you're just like, that's an embarrassing comment. Trust me, I would have, like, the receipts that would have been on Twitter from me or on YouTube after this move would have been made. So I think that because we live in this world of instant analysis, we live in this world where 4 guys like us who are normal guys who probably all have jobs are all going to pop on a Sunday afternoon and make a comparison between the two. And then the 24-hour news cycle, it's going to stay a story. Right. However, I don't even see, they're not even the same quarterback when you look at their skill sets. I mean, Mac Jones to us, like, you guys may laugh because you have Josh Allen, but we watch Mac Jones run and he looks fast. Because we watched Tom Brady run for 20 years, right? We're like, look at the wheels relative. Of the guy. He just ran for 15 yards. He had
a great run last night. I mean,
not bad.
Yeah, hey, I hear you.
Here's something for you. When Bledsoe went over to the Bills, were you like, oh, the Bills?
It hurt. It hurt. It would be like if Brady, when there was rumors that Brady was going to go to Miami. That's kind of how it felt. Yeah. There was 2 players that went to Buffalo that stung a lot. Lawyer Malloy, and then we had the Lawyer Malloy game, which is, you know, ingrained in my head as a kid. And then Bledsoe going over. I was conflicted with Drew Bledsoe because Drew Bledsoe was my guy. Right when I was still watching the Patriots games when he was in Buffalo, I was still wearing a Bledsoe jersey. Like, so I was conflicted, and I didn't like Tom Brady because, again, well, by that point I was a teenager, so you're still not really thinking clearly, but Drew Bledsoe was my guy. So this Brady guy pissed me off because we lost Drew Bledsoe, not being able to take into consideration what would happen down the road.
Here's a question for you. Do Patriots fans, and you as well, do you guys understand how much we do not like Patriots? Like Bills fans just despise Patriots.
I'm pretty aware. I'm pretty aware because I come on. I do a lot of rounds on the Buffalo Bills, YouTube channels and podcasts and stuff, and I see the comments being hurled at me, and I know how I am, that I take a pretty objective approach to things. So I'm like, if they hate me this much, I can only imagine how much they hate most of our fan base. I compare it to being in Toronto. Like being a Raptor fan, we hate LeBron here, right? We hate LeBron because LeBron knocked us out year in and year out. Like people, I keep hearing that the only reason we won the championship is because we didn't have to play LeBron. Like it's so, I have a hatred for LeBron, probably the way Buffalo fans have a hatred for the Patriots. And our fan base doesn't help it either, right? I mean, I say it all the time, and this is not a lie. If you go watch a lot of my shows, and when I get asked, hey Ray, what fan base do you hate the most? I'm like, oh, most definitely Patriots fans. You know what I mean? Like I'm so
because it's one of the Kendall is other than Patriots, what's the team that you can't root for this team ever?
I mean, I'm 24 years old, so it's like it's the Patriots. There is no one, like, obviously being a Bills fan, it's like it's Patriots, it's Giants, it's Cowboys, but I'm 24 years old, so it's Patriots.
Yeah.
I don't have another.
I'll tell you, as a Patriots fan, a lot of us don't hate Buffalo.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It wasn't a threat. There's no reason.
No, because we always hear about this great rivalry. And I always say, like, yeah, it's the greatest one-sided rivalry in sports.
Yeah, seriously.
Right? Like it always was. I hated the Jets for a long time because of Rex Ryan. And then when Todd Bowles came in, I thought he was a nice guy. I didn't hate him anymore. Right. I hated Buffalo when Rex Ryan was there, even though you guys weren't making the playoffs. I just hated Rex Ryan. I just hate Rex Ryan. So it was like wherever he went, I followed him around. I hated Baltimore for a long time because they, obviously I hated Peyton Manning and I hated the Colts. Right. However, what I'm hoping from Buffalo fans, especially like when it's all done and over with, like since Peyton's retired, I have a new level of like, I'm actually choked up about Ben Roethlisberger leaving, even though I've hated Pittsburgh for so long. But I was saying the other day, like you can't write the history of the Patriots without talking about Ben Roethlisberger when you talk about AFC championship games and stuff. And as much as I hated them during that period, now that it's over, I'm like, fuck, this sucks. When Peyton retired, I'm like, this sucks. Because there was to us, and I know talking to Mario over at Hashtag once, he said to me, like, when Patriots play Bills, like that's a game everybody's up for. And I remember, like, for me, that's when that's Manning Brady was the game. We're all day. The electricity was running through you. You know what I mean? So it's, but so I hope one day when he does retire, and I hope you guys win the championship or whatever, and you can kind of sit back and reflect. And I think there's people out there based on not the team. I think it's based on our fan base and the invention of social media and the way we reacted to the last 20 years. I think that there's going to be a great number of people that aren't going to actually appreciate what happened in New England based on hate, and the respect isn't going to be there the way I feel like I respect these guys after they retire. I'm like, I hated you when you played, but now it's like I can appreciate who you were, Peyton, type of thing.
Yep. It's no different. When Belichick retires, we're going to like, man, he was the GOAT of coaches. When Brady's done, we respect him now because he's not with New England. He's with Tampa.
Yeah.
At least for me, at least.
I feel that way too, Rico, 100%. And I've been watching Man in the Arena too, and I've been getting more appreciation for those teams because when they bring everybody on and they talk about the people outside of Tom Brady, and you just kind of look at the grand scheme of it all. And I'm able to appreciate this, in hindsight as I get older, but looking back at it, the accomplishments of New England in a very short period of time in the grand scheme of the game, it is. And that's why you asked me earlier, Rico, like, where do you see the Bills going as far as being able to compare with the dominance in which New England, nothing will ever touch it. And to be able to look back at that and to see all that went into it and the ability to achieve what they did in different cycles of teams, that's the thing. Like this current Bills team right now, it'll be a lot different a few years from now. And Brady did that with different circuits of teams in different ways. It's a marvel, man, what was accomplished.
Especially
sorry, but I got to split. I got to go yell at my kid.
Go do your thing, man. Listen, I appreciate you coming on. You're always a gem. You're always a class gentleman. And fuck your Patriots. Good day,
Always
sir.
love being here. Have me back. Fuck you. See ya.
Appreciate you, Ray.
Congratulations,
That
guys.
was
Good luck
great,
all the
man.
way.
That's all right. So that's my man Ray. Always,
Dude, that
always
was the greatest. That was the nicest fucking. I mean, that was amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, it's not every day you get an objective Patriots fan, because that's very tolerable, amicable conversation we just had.
I loved every second of that. That was amazing.
Ray, and he, like somebody said it, and it's like he doesn't breathe. He can
Yeah,
go and go and go and go. But he's objective as can be, and he's said it many times on the show. I've had him several times, and he's like, "We're playing with house," and I hate it when he kept on saying it. But he's like, "We're playing with house money, right?
Yeah,
it's true.
If we lose, we lose. We lose because we had a rookie quarterback, and we just blah blah blah, whatever the case is. If we win, well, listen, we're ready to go. We're gonna try to get this chip." So always refreshing to hear from another perspective, somebody else, and he's taken his loss quite well, I must say. Quite well. I'm waiting for. I don't know many Patriots content creators, but I'm waiting for one to come in that's just unruly. I want him to lose his shit, and I haven't had that yet. All these people I keep having are just like really classy dudes. Even a master at work came in with some master. He came with some class. He was like, "Hey, y'all won it. You didn't have to do my team the way you guys did. You guys really embarrassed us. You didn't have to do us that way." And I said, "Yes, the heck we did." That was pent up. What I love about this team is that there's a new generation of players, there's a new generation of coaches that understand what's at stake here. Jerry Hughes is he's kept the light burning, and he's now passing that candle on to somebody else to say, "Yo, keep this thing burning because we can't let these guys slip." You know what I'm saying? We got to smash them every chance we get when we play this damn Patriots. But it's always nice to get a nice, solid, just a convincing victory over the Patriots. Now we wait. We wait on the Bengals. We wait on the Chiefs. Chances are we play the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Kendall, are you confident that we can double back against this Chiefs team?
Yeah, I mean, I'm confident we can beat this Chiefs team. We did it once. The only pause I have is that their defense is playing a little bit better this time around. That's really the only pause I have, the only cause for concern. But the Bills are playing as hot as they've played all year. And that's even like take away this past Patriots game. Like, yeah, they did not put up the greatest performances against the Falcons or the Jets, but like we still dominated the Jets even for struggling through 2 quarters of that game. Like that was still domination, as ugly as it might have felt at times. And even losing the first half to the Falcons, like I still never had any doubts with that game. Really, that game tilted in the first half based on 3 bad plays.
Yeah,
and other than that, it was domination. It was utter domination. So really, it's tough to bet against this Bills team with how hot they're playing, how hot the defense is, how hot the offense is, and how really perfect Dable, Josh Allen, Motor, all of them. Everyone is on the same page right now in one Bills drive, and it's really tough to bet against them right now.
Here's the craziness right now. I'm looking at the box score for this Tampa and Eagles game. Tom Brady's 20 for 25, 159, no interceptions, no touchdowns. And it's all about the running backs right now. Just Giovanni Bernard's got a touchdown. So Tom Brady's not really affecting the game as heavily as I'd expect him to, but it's 17-0 going into the 4th. So this will be
it's 12 minutes in the 3rd. I've been watching it over here. It's an ass kicking. I mean,
it's an ass kicking. Okay.
Yeah, Philly's got nothing. Absolutely nothing. Their D is taking it to them too, which I'm kind of. I got to be honest. I thought this game might be a little bit more competitive than it is. I mean, I thought that we talk about playing with house money. I mean, that's Philly right now, and I just figured they would give them a bit more of a game, especially with Fournette out. But I'm interested to see how this NFC pans out. I'm interested because, to me, that's where it's been really heavy in the NFC this year as far as like the top dogs, in my opinion. And I'm dying to see if somebody can go into Lambeau and pull it off. Right now, I couldn't bet on it, but it'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm all in on the Packers. For my job this past year, I was essentially analyzing the Cardinals all year. I don't think they have it. I don't think like they're good. They got a lot of good pieces. Honestly, they remind me a lot of the Bills and like how they're building things and what they're trying to do. They're obviously a very different defense, but they just feel like something isn't quite clicking, and it's going to take some really great efforts for them in the playoffs to convince me otherwise. But I think, yeah, it's the Packers to lose, man. I really think it runs through Lambeau.
Packers are getting healthy. So
Yeah.
they've got guys that are coming back from IR. I think Darius Smith, I believe, has come back from IR, and they just had another player that came back from IR. That's a pretty big deal. So we got healthy at the perfect time.
Yeah, we did.
And we got out of this game unscathed. Everybody seems to have got out of it healthy. And thank the good Lord, because we need everyone healthy to go into next game. Everybody just needs to isolate and stay in your freaking rooms and don't go out. And then that's it. That's all. We got to do what we do. But listen, gentlemen, I appreciate you coming through. I mean, we just wanted to come on and chop it up and just get that out of the system some more, because I mean, what a game that was. Kendall, do me a favor. In your film session, whether it's you or whether it's Clay, please, if you can just highlight my guy Ryan Bates and give me love.
I do. I wanna include Ryan Bates this week. I haven't even gone through the second watch through yet today, but I'm gonna keep an eye on Bates and try to include him. I don't even know if we're gonna do like player spotlights. I don't even know if we're gonna preview the next game. There's just too much to break down from this game. It's gonna get people too giddy. I haven't even talked to Clay about it yet, but like, I think we're gonna have to just focus on this Patriots game so everyone can marvel in it together. But I think it's gonna be a real like hodgepodge of just like, hey, this play happened. Like, look how great this was. It's not gonna be so like player driven, player focused. But I'm gonna make sure to get a Rick Bates play in there.
Rick Bates. You just made me check off on my bingo card the word hodgepodge. I didn't know somebody was going to use the word hodgepodge today, and I'm glad you did. A hodgepodge of film, much appreciated. So Kendall and my man Clay will be actually back on Wednesday to break down some film and this glorious game. I mean, good luck finding what you guys want, because there's so much that you can actually hit. For sure. Before we get out of here, I got to read a super chat from Dan Brown. It says, I don't know if you guys saw Sal's tweet, but check it out, guys. Boston's post game said Buffalo isn't good. He might overtake Nick Wright.
I saw this.
Yeah, that was that Mike Hawley guy. He says
Nick Wright was chopping it up on Twitter last night too. By the way,
who was?
He's basically Nick Wright. He was saying enjoy it, Bills, for Chiefs coming next week.
Oh, he's a big Chiefs fan.
Such a homer.
He's such a homer.
Yeah, it's super hilarious. So Z-Bot, talk to us tomorrow. What do you got planned for us? Are we gonna have a fire show, baby? Ow!
The party doesn't stop, Rico, after this one, and we're back at it Monday night, tomorrow night. We're gonna do it a little bit earlier, 7:00, because I know everybody wants to watch that Rams Cardinals game. That's gonna be a good one. So 7 tomorrow, right where you are right now. Buffalo Fanatics YouTube channel, Smoke Break. I could go on about this game till the end of time. So we're gonna be right back at it again tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Let's keep the train rolling, celebrate it, and then we'll know by then who we're playing. So we'll look forward to that game too tomorrow night.
Love it. Well, listen, fellas, you guys have been great. You guys have been fantastic. Thank you guys, because you guys have been killing it all year. The party doesn't stop. We still keep rolling. And for the sake of my man Z-Bot, he loves this song. So we're gonna end this show on this song here. Let me turn it up a little bit for everybody so they know what's happening.
They were cranking it all night in the stadium last night, Rico, and had everybody rowdy. So you can't beat it.
With that being said, folks, you guys have a great afternoon. Kendall, thanks for coming on, man. I know it was last minute.
Of course.
You show it out, and just show my guy Rick Bates some love. I just need
I'll get that done. No worries.
All right, fellas. So listen, man, go Bills. It was a great game, and thank you guys for tuning in with us. And we will catch you guys during the week. Monday, Z-Bot. Tuesday, myself, and then Wednesday, the film room with my guys Kendall and Clay. By the way, great job on Friday on the extravaganza. You guys are good.
Thanks, man.
I wish they had you guys at the beginning.
I know, right? Yeah, it was fizzling out at the end, but I mean, it's tough to go 2.5 hours.
Yeah, I know, but you guys did a hell of a job. You guys represented, so I appreciate that. So until next time, guys, it's the Buffalo Fanatics. It's my man Kendall. I got my man Z-Bot, and we out of here. Catch you later.